Hey everyone, Shawn here with our star Chantal. Man, did she ever do an amazing job for us with the full swing, huh? We went from the short irons to the driver.
Correct.
Man, that was a blast.
It was.
You did extremely well, and she's been practicing. She's been playing what, 2-3 times a week?
Yeah, at least, yes.
And you're still getting those nice solid shots going out there?
Yes, not consistently, but definitely more often than before. So that's a great
All right.
feeling.
So it's a nice step up,
Yes.
and you're getting more compression on the ball. You're getting more distance on your shots when you stay focused. And that's really what it is, right? It's easy to drop your guard and lose your focus. And then you realize, oh shoot, I could have done that, and then you get back in there, and then you get it back.
That's right.
So now we have a decent base. Now, for the times that you're not there, which happens to all of us, we need a short game.
Yes.
And what's really good about what we're going to do today, so we're going to do chip, pitch, open face chip, flop shot, bunker shot, and you'll see how they all relate to the full swing.
Okay.
It's not like you have a short game and then you got a full swing. It's the same machine, same tool, just a little variance of it.
Great.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we're going to start with the chipping motion today.
All right.
Now, first things first. Just to remind you, we'll put this down for now.
Okay.
She's raring to go.
Yes.
Just to remind you how much of a gravity flippin' genius you are, right? So all you're going to do is just toss that ball over to me.
Okay.
How did you know it was that far? You didn't have to think, did you?
No.
So you felt the weight of the ball, and you knew exactly how much momentum it is to, and then how did you know when to close your hands? You made a prediction. So you saw the ball coming, you knew that gravity is going to affect it this way, and you knew where to put your hands and when to close them.
Right.
All right, so now turn to your side a little bit. Toss that ball over to me. How come you opened your body? Did you guys see that? I didn't have to say a word. So here's Chantal tossing the ball to me. So notice.
There.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
So the first thing that happened when you tossed the ball to me, what happened? What's the first thing that went?
The first thing that happened when I opened my body?
When you tossed the ball to me? What went first?
What went first?
See?
The bottom? I don't even know. It just happened naturally.
Exactly. We're wired for this.
Right.
You're not supposed to know.
Right.
It's nice to understand it, right? So the first thing that actually happened is your brain had to go to the ground. It went and pressurized the ground with your lead foot.
Right.
And then it used the ground to move your rib cage and pelvis out of the way so your arm had free access to send the ball to me. So now do that with your left hand.
Okay.
Go ahead and toss the ball over here.
Okay.
Notice you had to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So a chipping motion is simply, like if I'm going to toss a ball to you guys and I toss a ball back to Chantal, don't worry, I won't toss it.
Okay.
One for you, one for you. So notice the only way this ball gets to you guys is if my body gets out of the way. And the only way that ball gets to Chantal is if my body gets out of the way. But notice as I go towards you with this one's preparing to go back the other way.
Right. Right.
So this seems like it's open and this seems like it's closed.
Right.
Now it's the opposite. It's just not changing. So if we take your wedge. Now, do you have a sand wedge?
Yes, I do.
All right, grab your sand wedge.
Okay.
Perfect. And take your normal grip.
Okay.
Beautiful. Now remember we talked about how every instrument known to humanity is designed handle first in mind. So make a nice full backswing
Okay.
and pretend you're going to cut through that dandelion stem in nice slow motion.
Slow motion.
Super slow motion. Yes. So elbow first. See that elbow? Then the hand. Then the handle. Then the shaft. Then the heel of the club. Then the toe of the club. So notice how nice and square that is. All right? Then the club catches up to the hands. So if you're slashing a sword, casting a fishing pole, it's all the same stuff.
Right.
Now, when we're chipping, we don't have this big backswing, do we?
Right.
So what happens is we're only using one pendulum point. So that pendulum point is your sternal notch, where the two clavicles join the rib cage.
Right.
So take your posture again.
Okay.
So in order to have the hands hanging forward, we're going to put the ball opposite your back foot.
Okay.
All right. So notice how the hands are naturally in front and the handle's naturally in front. And we're not going to open, we're not going to close the face as much. You can actually open the face a little bit.
Okay.
There we go. So it's about 10 degrees open. This is really important.
Right.
Because the sole of the club has to be able to shave along the grass without gouging the surface.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So it's like if you take a razor, I know you don't do it on your face, but you do it somewhere else. And what happens is if the razor's edge digs into the skin, you don't want it to gouge the skin. So there's a little buffer zone there that prevents it from digging in.
Right.
And that's the sole of the club. So when you open the sole of the club, see this board here?
Yes.
So if I keep it square, see the leading edge is going to dig?
Right.
But if I open it slightly, see how the sole of the club is raised? Right?
It's just going to bounce off.
So you'll see it right here. When I open it up, see the leading edge, you'll see the sole of the club raised slightly off. So we're using the bounce to raise the leading edge of the club so that we have this beautiful contact with the grass.
Okay.
Okay? So the swing itself, once you're there, is you're tossing back with your left hand,
Yep.
tossing through with the right hand.
Okay.
So your arms and club form a lowercase letter Y.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So capital Y,
Yep.
lowercase y,
Yeah.
and you maintain that lowercase y back and through. Excellent. So why is it so easy for you to hold on to that? I know many of you have a lot of breakdowns going on. So notice as you go back, your trail arm doesn't fold. Why? Because you let your rib cage turn out of the way. See that? Notice your left arm has access to me. If I was standing over here and you were tossing a ball to me.
Right.
Notice how the club face looks closed, but it isn't. So now you let the weight of your arms and club fall through the grass, so you're cutting through the grass. And notice on the other side, the left arm doesn't fold because notice your rib cage and pelvis is facing this way now.
Right.
So your right arm has clearance
Right.
to come this way.
Okay.
So if there's no obstacles in front of your arms, then your arms can maintain the same shape in both directions. Good. Now, last tidbit.
Yep.
Once you got the ball back here, the only way the hands hang naturally in front is if you face your center.
Yes.
There.
Yeah.
So don't face the ball,
Right.
because now you're negating that effect. So you face your center, there it is, and now we're just going to shave grass. Yeah, now notice where it wants to bottom out. Doesn't it feel like it wants to bottom out there?
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So when your hands return under your sternal notch, right? So notice the hands are hanging under the sternal notch. When the hands return under the sternal notch, the club head, the club sole will return to the grass.
Right.
Just a little more
A
open.
little bit over. Yeah.
There you go. Cut. There it is. So all we do is cut grass using the weight of the arm club unit.
Yep.
Can you feel that?
Yeah, I feel that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's see you cut through that rubber tee with that.
Okay.
Beautiful. So the hands are hanging naturally in front. You're centered in front. Perfect. Let momentum cut the tee. Excellent. So if you cut the tee with that intensity, how far do you think the ball will go?
I'm thinking it's going to go there, about just probably before the blue thing,
Before the blue cone.
and hopefully roll a bit.
Okay.
If it needs to roll.
So use that amount of momentum. So your eyes are still on the grass between the club and the ball. See how the leading edge is ready to cut the tee? So let the weight of that arm club unit cut the tee. Perfect technique.
Ooh.
Look at your finish. See where you finished? Everything's intact. So when you allow the weight of your arms and club to simply cut through the tee, notice how the momentum is allowed to continue beyond the tee.
Yeah.
That's the key. So if your focus is on the ball, hit the ball, then that's where everything tends to stop.
Yes.
And then you get those chili dips because you got to find a way to force the club,
Right.
over there. So now we'll put a ball right next to that.
Okay.
You still see a stem under that ball? Let the weight of your arms and club cut through. Don't face the ball. There you go.
That's a habit, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Look at that. I mean, that is just
Sweet.
primo technique right there. Beautiful description.
Thank you.
So if I had a description of a chip in the dictionary, I'd want that video along with it. That was great.
Great.
So the momentum of, so you're never trying to manipulate the club to meet the ball. Because it's a short motion, the tendency is to try and place the club to the ball, and then you would negate that little mini kinetic chain. So you notice when you let the arm pass, the brain says, hey, here comes the arms, let them come through the stem. It's gonna go use the ground and get your body out of the way.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
So now you're actually chipping with a kinetic chain.
Okay.
Let's see a couple more.
All right.
Wonderful. Awesome. So let's look down the line, you guys. Go ahead, do another one.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So you'll notice that the next important aspect of the chip shot is always using an intermediate point. So let's say we use this rubber tee as an intermediate point to go to that blue cone.
Okay.
So you would step back here
Yes.
and you would pick your intermediate point with your binocular vision, of course.
Right.
So the blue cone is basically on the left half of that tee.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So go ahead and line up with that.
Okay, so that's where I get confused, because if I line up with it, I want those lines on my club to be to the left, as
Okay.
you said, but then you've asked me to open it, right?
Well, here's the deal.
Right.
What do you line up? You line up the flow of momentum.
Okay, all right.
All right, so you're
Okay.
lining up the flow of momentum. So if you were to do a
Okay.
practice swing right next to it, okay,
Yeah.
just swing back and through without stopping.
Okay.
Do you feel like your momentum is moving parallel to the ball and that intermediate point? Now line
yes.
up way too far to the right. Line up your whole structure way too far right. So if you let momentum follow the flow of that setup, does it feel like you're going to the left of that intermediate point?
Right now it feels like I'm going to the right of my target.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So now aim way too far left.
Okay, so it's the whole
Where's the
thing.
flow of
Yeah.
momentum? Where does it want to go now? Notice there's a natural flow of that momentum.
Right.
So the ball socket system of your hips and shoulders, they're placed in a way so your rib cage and your pelvis have those facet joints that keep it nice and square so that you don't walk around like Quasimodo.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So when you bring your hands together to take your grip, you'll notice that your hands and arms will tend to flow parallel to that ball socket system.
Right.
So if you take the socket system, and I see this so often with a lot of people, they turn their feet, they say open the stance, and they think opening the stance is this. Well, now the ball socket system of my hips is way left.
Right.
Now I have to contort my body to try and go toward the target.
Okay.
So always line up the momentum of the swing.
Perfect. Makes sense now.
Make sense?
Yes,
Good.
it does. All right.
And you'll see
so-
how the club face with the sand wedge and the lob wedge have very little to do with direction.
Okay.
Because there's so much loft, it's a glancing blow.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
So,
Right.
excellent. So you feel like you're centered here. And so if you take a little practice swing right next to the ball. So do your arms and club feel like they're hanging right now and you're letting momentum
Yes.
cut the grass? Okay. Now come to the ball. Whoop.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
There's,
yeah.
there's the bobo. And that I see with so many people. And it's an innocent little bobo,
Right.
but it has big consequences.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So it's like if you're going bowling. Here's your bowling ball.
Yep.
Let that swing under your arm, let's say toward the blue cone. Right. So notice it's swinging under your arm and you're not holding it away from you, right?
No.
That'd be way too much
No,
effort.
yeah.
So right now, let's say you're in the left gutter of the bowling alley. And you
Okay.
want to come to the center of the bowling alley to release the bowling ball now. That's your practice swing area, right?
Okay.
What would you do? Reach out or walk in?
I don't understand the question. Hold
There
on.
we go. So would you reach away here and try to bowl from here?
No.
Your feet are in the
No.
gutter.
No.
So you
yeah. I would-
exactly.
yes.
See how that works? So you have your practice swing.
Yeah.
Now the club is light enough to manipulate.
Right.
So it's easy to miss that. So what you want to do is you feel the weight of your, because you were using the weight of the arms and club, right? So you have the weight of the arms and club that want to cut grass here.
Right.
Well, you better bring the whole machine.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And we're going to do that when we take you to the putting green with the putter.
Okay.
So now bring the machine.
So I'm bringing to the
Yep.
yeah.
So now all we want to do is cut the stem of the dandelion to the left half of that tee.
Okay.
Not bad. Open the face a smidge more. More. Yeah. Does that feel like it's going to go more to the right?
Yes.
Hover the club above the ball. You're cutting through the stem with the sole of the club, right? Do you see the blur going to the left side of that
Yes,
tee?
yes,
Perfect. So
yep.
focus on that. So your eyes are on this, and you're cutting through the stem that way.
Okay.
Awesome. Notice it didn't go to the right.
No, it didn't.
So open it a lot more, like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
All right. So we're cutting through the stem to the left edge of that. Hover it above, completely. Yeah, now swing above the ball, observe the blur. Is the blur staying to the left of that tee?
Yes, or on top of it.
Okay,
I
so
see.
you want left.
Okay.
So how would you swing to go left? Wouldn't you take the club more out here?
Yes. So this way.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh,
So
I
that's
see.
going to the left.
Yeah.
Okay, now go just parallel left. Got it.
Yes.
See that?
Yeah.
So now if you cut through the stem with that, you'd basically be sawing through the stem from the heel to the toe, correct?
Yes.
Saw through the stem in that direction, see what happens.
Okay.
The ball didn't go right.
No.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is.
But notice there's more spin.
Right.
And it lands much softer. So if you're in that thick rough around the green, and you need a certain amount of momentum to get through that thick grass,
Yes.
but you don't want the ball to get away from you,
Right.
you open the face.
That's going to help me so much.
Okay, isn't that
Yes,
cool?
yes,
So
absolutely.
now you know what an open face chip looks like. And what's really cool is when you practice this, when it comes to bunker shots and flop shots, you'll have those in the bag, no
Okay.
problem.
Great.
So what happens is people open the face and they think ball to face, and they go, well, how do I fit the face to the ball now?
Right.
It's not about that. It's about cut the stem.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So let's do a couple more nice open face chips.
Okay.
So super open.
Yep.
Yes. You see the stem in your mind.
I do. Yes.
Cut through the stem with the sole of the club. Very nice. So we'll bring that back over here so people can see it from the front.
Okay.
Good. So in your mind right now, that looks like we're going
Way right.
super to the right.
Yep. Absolutely.
Look at that. Right over the blue cone. Wasn't that beautiful?
Yeah,
Awesome.
Great.
So, still going good? Now, if we wanted to go farther, what would we do?
I would say a
Longer back?
longer backswing.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
just need more momentum, right?
That's right.
So let's say you wanted to go to the white cone. So
Okay.
show me a swing that'll get you past the white cone between that one and the red one.
Okay. I'll do the practice. You want way open still? Yeah.
Semi-open. Now you don't have to worry about the open face anymore.
Okay.
Beautiful. That's about 10 degrees open right there.
Okay.
Perfect.
So I would probably to the right. I would
Yeah.
probably do something like
So notice you had more follow through as well, right?
yes.
So we're continuing to use momentum. Yes, we never want to push or hit. We want to let the momentum cut through the stem. So it's just a little dandelion guillotine, right?
Okay.
Good.
That's a sweet way of putting it.
Oh my goodness. That's exactly perfect.
Yes, thank you.
Wasn't that gorgeous, you guys? Right? You hear the sound of
Yes.
that? That was pure, a pure chip right there. And notice how there was no stoppage on the way through. You didn't see any manipulation in that swing. I'm proud of you, Chantal. That looks awesome.
Thank you. Well, with good direction, it helps, right?
That's it. With some wisdom. So let's see one more like that.
Okay.
Good. So what was your focus on that one? It's a good miss, but notice it was just a little scrapey.
You saw it in my eyes that I wasn't focused, eh?
Well, what were you trying to do?
I was trying to hit that ball,
There you
know.
go.
Yeah.
Right, you see how delicate that is?
Amazing.
So I call it the squirrel.
Yes.
So your eyes are on the leading edge, between the leading edge of the club and the ball. You see what you're about to cut, correct?
Correct.
You're using the weight of your arms and club to cut through that stem with momentum. Look at that, in your back.
Yeah.
Big difference, huh?
Yeah.
So you go from, I'm about to cut the grass or the stem, to make sure I put the club on the ball.
Right.
Completely changes your body language. So notice it got a little scrapey, it went a little more left.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you think your stroke is defective. Whereas all we needed to do was come back to our original focus. So now let's see what distance for you would be for your full range of motion with that lowercase y. So at one point, you have a specific range of motion without collapsing the arms and without strain. So I want full range of motion without strain.
Okay.
Let's see how far the ball goes.
I'm just going to take a practice swing first to feel it.
Excellent.
Okay.
So using momentum to cut through the stem. Amazing. Look at that. So you just went about 3 yards past the red cone, and that's about 30 yards.
Great.
Okay, so your 30-yard shot with nothing in front of the green, no obstacles in front of the green, you want to just roll it up there.
Right.
You would use this technique. Just land it at the front of the green and then trickle onto the green. So notice it's got a nice low, you know, it's going to release for you.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So now you've got your short chips, your very short chips with open face.
Right.
And then you up to your long chips, which and just beyond that would be a short pitch.
Okay.
So notice that last ball that where it ended up.
Right.
Now you know that if you used lowercase y, you wouldn't be able to get beyond that.
Right, exactly.
So that's when we allow the right arm to fold.
Okay.
So we engage the second pendulum.
Right.
And we'll show you that in the next episode.